Boys and girls, what would you like to talk about? I think I just wasted 90 minutes of my weekend, and that was bad. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Drive Pink Dialogue. This is the raw reaction. For those of you who joined us for the pregame show, I'm going to be by myself today. Scotty's out saving the world, and thank God he doesn't have to witness that because that wasn't great. This is the therapy, right? We get online, we talk about Inter Miami winning or losing. Unfortunately, today we talk about losing. First of all, congratulations to Charlotte. They've set themselves a new record and accomplished what the Seattle Sounders in 2018 did. That is, set the highest number of wins in a row and winning against Inter Miami in brilliant fashion. A 3-0 loss to Charlotte FC. This is a great side, first of all. Let's just set the context there. The Charlotte side is fantastic. They've been on an absolute tear recently. And that's what a fully functional team looks like, where every single member knows exactly what their role is. Every single player understands what to do. I think Inter Miami started the game really well. The setup was interesting. Javi Mascherano tried to do something different tactically. We sat back in a three center back partnership with Busquets as the linchpin in possession. We had Rodrigo de Paul play centrally as well and pushed the fullbacks or the wing backs in this situation quite high. That got Charlotte off guard for at least 20 minutes, and I thought Inter Miami looked like the better team. And then everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Lionel Messi missing the penalty. We don't get to say that every other day. So I don't think anybody expected that. Of course, when a Panenka comes off, it looks beautiful. But when it doesn't, it looks very foolish. And that's what it looked like. But there was still a chance. And Miami was obviously very much in the game, creating opportunities in the first 20 minutes. And then after that, the momentum shifted. The crowd got behind Charlotte and they immediately scored. It was a gut-wrenching goal. Took the life out of Inter Miami in the first half itself. And after that, it just never felt like Inter Miami was in this game. Never felt like we were able to score a goal. We had a couple of really good opportunities. We had one opportunity before the penalty miss. We had a couple of opportunities in the final 20 minutes of the game as well. Tadeo Allende missing a one-on-one opportunity. We've said that a lot this season. And overall, I think the better team won. They had the better plan. They had the better tactics. They understood exactly how they could beat Inter Miami. They had to make an adjustment, which they did. And successfully, I think, nullified anything Inter Miami had to offer. And yeah, that was that. I will say in the pregame show, I was a lot more confident. I thought Inter Miami had the tools and the talent to take this game to Charlotte. I thought with our possession game, which looked like what we were planning to do and trying to do in the first 20 minutes, I thought Inter Miami could get something. But alas, it was not to be. It didn't come through. We missed a couple of chances. And then after that, Charlotte just exposed the weaknesses that Inter Miami has. That's the monologue that I've got for you today. Let's see what the chat is saying, because honestly, I don't have much more to say. I'll have to rewatch the game tomorrow and understand what exactly went wrong. I didn't think any of the performances were great. We didn't even talk about the red card for Toto Aviles, which I think was, at that point, it didn't really matter, did it? Sergio Busquets conceding a penalty as well. So a lot of things going wrong. Let's get to the chat. Let me know what everyone's thinking. I'm sorry if my energy is low, because that feels like a very defeating game. I don't think Inter Miami played well by any means. And yeah, I said it's a redemption run, but it doesn't start off well. We've got 8 more games to maybe make a claim for the Supporters' Shield, but I think that's beyond us now. It's probably killed the hopes of winning the Supporters' Shield. If Inter Miami can finish top 4 in the East, I'll be happy, I guess. Mark in the chat, and we'll hear more from you, Mark, tomorrow. Says the team has no heart. Yeah, it just looked like as soon as we conceded that goal, straight after the penalty, heads dropped. Where's the leadership on this team? Who is showing that leadership? I don't see Messi being that vocal leader. Suarez obviously not there. Jordi Alba, Busquets, Rodrigo de Paul, they all just were anonymous non-entities on the pitch. And it felt like Charlotte was the team that was playing with the heart, that was playing with the camaraderie, that was playing with the connection between each other. And I think Inter Miami lacked that, and it was a stark difference between a team that's well drilled, has an idea of how they want to play, what their identity is, versus a bunch of players that have been put on the field and are just trying to get a result by using their talent. Well, unfortunately, talent isn't always enough, and a team that understands how to play together can beat a talented team any single day. Um, Raymond goes a little bit far, saying they have big names yet flop in big games. Yeah, it's been like that this entire season. When Inter Miami's had to step up in big games, we've barely beaten any big sides. Maybe Columbus, that game was an anomaly at this point, but it's been bad. So yeah, unfortunately, Scotty is not here to go through the therapy session with us, and I'm glad that he hasn't had to witness what we've just witnessed. But he'll be back soon, and I'm sure he's going to have a few thoughts on this game. Absolutely. Mascherano playing against a team whose manager is serving a suspension. Listen, they didn't even need a manager on the sidelines, honestly. They know exactly how they want to play, and they know what their roles and responsibilities were. My idea changed about Javier Mascherano a lot. Well, it didn't change, but I thought Javier Mascherano had a really good tactical setup. But the fact that Dean Smith, who wasn't even on the sidelines, was able to address the changes and ask his team to make some changes and utilize the man advantage in the middle of the park was well done to them. SD says MLS artificial turfs are Messi's Achilles heel. It's not easy to play on, especially when you rely on the intricate touches, the 1-2 passes in between your players. Artificial turf is not conducive to that, and I think Messi does suffer from it, but it's no excuse because turf is for both teams. Inter Miami players have played on turf before, so it's not like that should be an excuse of losing 3-0 to a team, to an opponent. Mascherano must go, follows up SD. Jace says, season is over, boys. Let's back it up. We are not winning anything this season. I think I was off the idea this week that Inter Miami is not going to win much. Our chances of being the clear favorites to win the Supporter Shield, the MLS Cup, are gone. It will require a behemoth effort to actually get something out of this season, especially with the way we're playing. It doesn't look like Inter Miami is built to go the distance in the playoffs. So I would agree with Jace here. Don't think Inter Miami has it to at least be the clear favorites winning the MLS Cup or the Supporter Shield. I think the Supporter Shield is out of question, but the MLS Cup as well is going to take some effort for Inter Miami to get there. And I really tried, guys. I really tried to muster that positivity in the pregame show to make sense of it, but it's not clicking for this team, and it's looking really poor. Raymond said, whoever believed Inter Miami will win a trophy this season is either deluded or just plain stupid. No, I disagree with that, because I think the way this team was constructed, the acquisitions that were made, the expectations that were set on this team at the start made us think that we're going to compete for trophies, and we've got close, right? We were one win away from winning the League's Cup. Now we bottled it in the final, but that's a different story. We were 2 wins away from winning the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Well, I can keep going on that. We were like 5 wins away from winning the Club World Cup, but I think the expectations were there. The way this team is constructed, we should be competing for trophies. The setup, the way players are being utilized, there's no identity to this team. It just feels like a bunch of players put together, hoping they can pull together some results. but on the inside, it feels very hollow. And my biggest takeaway from this game was Charlotte looked like a team. Inter Miami did not. SD says, why is Toto still here? Better players are gone. Robert Taylor, Campana. I thought Toto was fine until he wasn't. You bro says Mascherano super out. Pep says humiliation ritual complete. Pep, hang in there because I have a feeling there's going to be a couple more of these results before we actually turn a corner. I don't want to say it, but I think it's going to get bad before it gets better. Ash says wasted season. We feel very defeated right now, but there's still an opportunity to win the MLS Cup. Although I think from today's performance, it's gone down from like a 30% chance to maybe a 10% chance. Yeah, it wasn't great. Pep says the season is cooked. They need to think about what changes need to be made. Yeah, and it's really frustrating because we genuinely had hope for the season, more so than last season. I thought Inter Miami was actually able to do something unique this season. Last season they set the points record, but I thought we were setting ourselves up for real good success, at least at the start of the January transfer window. And it's all just gone downhill from there. Never at any point in the season does it feel like this Inter Miami team is going to pick itself up and put on a run of games, dominate, make us feel good about how we're playing. Like, I don't think I watched a single game this season, while barring the Columbus 5-0 that comes to mind, where it felt like Inter Miami's dominating through and through with a certain identity, a play style, a set of tactics. Like what are our tactics? What do we try to do on the pitch? Because it doesn't feel like this Inter Miami team is creating chances on a regular. And I need to see the stats because I honestly gave up paying attention to this game halfway through. But we had 1.8 xg. I think most of it was the penalty. Total shots 10 compared to the 10 shots that Charlotte had, so it was fairly equal. We had more of the ball, but it never felt like we were threatening. I don't know. Am I being delusional? I didn't think at any point Inter Miami looked dangerous as such for a consistent period. Even in the first 20 minutes, they looked good, but we weren't penetrative. We weren't bombarding their goal with opportunities. It just yeah, Naya says, how did Messi miss? It happens. But as a team, as a collective, even if you miss a penalty, that shouldn't, at 0-0, it shouldn't lead to a goal immediately after 30 seconds. That was a mentality issue. A player can miss a penalty. You're allowed to miss a penalty. And I don't think I will blame Lionel Messi for that. But the way the team responded to it, it just felt like the entire energy of the stadium sucked the life out of the team. Heads dropped, and we conceded in the next 30 seconds, which was terrible. For me, that was the biggest telling point. Should we talk about Javier Mascherano? I mean, we've talked about him plenty this season, but I don't think he sticks around for the rest of the season, like after the season. I don't expect Inter Miami to win the Supporter Shield. I don't expect Inter Miami to win the MLS Cup. If he wins the MLS Cup, that's going to be a miracle and a half, and I'll probably kiss his shoes if he does that. And Vamos Miami said, Vamos IMCF says, all we talk about is losing. And another disappointing aspect of this game was that we came off the bat of a 3-0 loss to Seattle, which was humiliating in itself, losing 3-0 in a final against a good team away from home. That's fine. But you humiliated yourself off the pitch afterwards as well. And you go into this game thinking, okay, the boys are going to show something tonight. This is their chance to redeem themselves, their chance to win back some confidence, the trust of the fans, and they bottled it entirely. Bistrat says, I'm not going to sit here and tell Messi how to take a penalty. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think I will blame Messi for missing a penalty. It happens. It's part and parcel of the sport. It's the heads dropping after that really affected, I think, everything. The defending in that second goal was terrible. The defending in the first goal was terrible. Sergio Busquets giving away that penalty. Like, Charlotte was just so good, man. They were so good. And honestly, they might even go and win the whole damn thing because they were really good. Amart says the whole season they never figured it out. Honestly, it just feels baffling to me that we've sat here for 8 months trying to understand what this team can do better, trying to understand what this team is all about. What is their play style? What do they even do? Um, how do we like to set up? And we've gone into 8 months of the season. I still don't know. I still do not have an answer for you. I still don't think he knows what his best starting 11 is. I still don't see how this team likes to play, what they try to do on the pitch. It's not a great place to be right now. And it's very disappointing. Busquets should not play as centre backs. Scotty has to admit this. I'll be honest. I watched those first 20 minutes, and I was thinking about Scotty because I remembered that he wanted Sergio Busquets to play as that third centre back and dictate the play from deep, and it looked good for a while. And I thought Scotty would be really enjoying this. And then, as soon as Charlotte figured it out, Inter Miami was getting dominated in that middle. I'll have to rewatch exactly what Charlotte did. I think they were using some really good running in behind from their wide players, and their striker was coming more centrally and coming deeper in rather than stretching the field further out, which was taking a defender away. But I think Inter Miami should have adjusted on the fly. But Toklamati, what a performance from him, man. Hat trick as well. Ugh. Who would have thought? He's on fire, isn't he? Jay says, did anyone see that article about Tata being open to coming back to the MLS? Yeah, he did have an interview recently, and an article was published where he said he'd be open to coming back. I'm not bringing him back to Miami, though. Thank you. Sir Octi said it's one game against the hottest team in the league. Tuesday we can win. But it's not just about the loss, though, right? I understand it's away from home against the best team in the league right now in terms of form. Their players are firing on all cylinders. Inter Miami had a number of players missing. Our main striker was out. Our bench was thin. But that's no excuse to the way that we lost this game. And there was no fight in this team. And I would like to congratulate Daniel Pinter on making his MLS debut as well. But where was Santi Morales? Why did he not get an opportunity to play? Yeah, and it's not about the loss. It's the way that we lost. And who says we can win on Tuesday? I don't think we're the favorites to win on Tuesday, are we? We're playing Seattle, who we just absolutely got destroyed. Well, we lost 3-0 to them. We humiliated ourselves in the aftermath of that game. And they would want a little bit of revenge for Inter Miami being douchebags after the game. I don't know if that's a guaranteed win on Tuesday. I don't know if we win on Tuesday. Sergio says, how does this team concede 3 goals and score nothing? Twice. Back to back, indeed. Ramos says it's not Messi's fault that we lost. And this will cost us the MLS Cup. At this point, we're not even the favorites to win the MLS Cup. So it's the MLS Cup is not ours to be cost, first of all, because Inter Miami are not the favorites, and Inter Miami are not going to go into it as favorites. But I don't think we're going to win the MLS Cup with Javi Marchand at the wheel. Honor says, because of Suarez, we lost today. I agree. Let's blame Suarez. I think we found the reason. Elmer says, I have a feeling that if Inter Miami ends their season early in the playoffs, Messi renewing his contract is in question. I don't think so. I think he's going to renew regardless. But I see a lot of negativity. Mark brings up a really good point. Messi pretty non-existent after the penalty miss. I'm trying to think about the Heron That Flew North award, and I don't want to spoil anything for now, but I thought Messi was not great tonight. I don't think he had a particularly good performance tonight. He had a couple of really good passes that completely opened up Charlotte. And if not for Tadeo Allende and his awful finishing, maybe we could have got something out of it. But yeah. CV says, not lying, anybody in here could coach and we could have gotten a result. I would love to have someone from the chat actually coach this Inter Miami team, because I have a feeling CV is absolutely right that we could we could coach a win out of this team. Maybe not against Charlotte, but against maybe a lower level MLS team. Yeah, maybe let's go through the lineup and see individual performances and have a discussion about that, because I don't think anybody covered themselves in glory today. And again, I lost interest after the second goal, and it didn't feel like Inter Miami was doing anything on that pitch. So I'm going to have to rewatch to see what the performances were like. But Ustari, I thought, could not do much. Like, he didn't do anything wrong, which is all that you can ask for from your goalkeeper. Ian Frey, I thought, was one of the better players on the pitch. He was linking up well with Rodrigo de Paul. He was doing fine with Wilfred Zaha on that side. He was good, not great. I thought he got involved in the final third a few times, and I thought he was doing really well. Aviles, Falcon, really poor, got cut apart in 2 goals. I thought Aviles with the second yellow changes the game again. We always tend to end up getting a red card against Charlotte for some reason or another. Jordi Alba, I thought, was poor. Rodrigo de Paul, I didn't think had a particularly good game. Yannick Bright was okay. I don't think it was his best performance either. Segovia doesn't feel like he had too much to do in this game. Messi was missing for large parts of it. Allende again. The problem with Allende is we would call his performance average if he hadn't missed that really important chance. And he does that a lot. And that's why his performance goes from being like a 6 to a 4, because he misses some very crucial opportunities, because Inter Miami doesn't make that many opportunities in the first place. So the ones that we're getting have to be buried. We need to take our chances. And when Allende misses those 1-versus-1 opportunities, it's bad. And listen, Chris Kalina had some really good saves today. I wouldn't say we had no opportunity. We did create a few things, first in the 20 minutes, then maybe a couple of opportunities in the end of the first half, and then some in the middle of the second half. But Chris Kalina pulled out some saves when he needed to. He obviously saved that penalty. So we did have opportunities, and maybe on the second watch we looked slightly better than we did, but it didn't feel consistent by any means. So I don't think anybody had a very good game by any means. Pep says Bright was bad, Messi was bad, Alba was bad, Frey was bad. Yeah, I agree. As says, we can't be a defensive team because our defense sucks. Can't play possession because we lose possession often. Yeah, what do we do well? We give Messi the ball and then hope that he wins the game for us. That's what we do well. Tunde says Bright worse, Busquets after that, Aviles, Messi after that. I thought Bright was fun. Like he was poor. He was poor. Let's just put it that way. Jerry says decisions are all based on pleasing Messi and not prioritizing real issues on the team. I think it's this holds true both on the pitch and off the pitch. And maybe we can sit on this for a second, because I think the idea for this team when they're attacking is to always get the ball into Messi as soon as possible. And that is often to the detriment of our patterns of play, because Messi is more central, but if there's space on the wide sides, nobody has the bravery or the I want to say confidence to go into that space and utilize it and not just rely on Messi. I think our outlet can't just be go through the wide channels and then cut it back into Messi. So many times Jordi Alba runs up the wing doesn't get to the end of the byline, but instead he'll cut it back, but all the way almost to the middle of the pitch where Messi's standing. And it's really frustrating because yes, Messi can score from that, but why don't we get closer to the goal to try and create those opportunities? I'm tired, guys. I'm really tired. I don't like this performance at all. Ash says, yeah. And sorry, I'm going through comments in a scatterbrain manner. I'm trying to get to the latest comments and then trying to also address some of the comments. So keep them coming. This is good because we need to vent as much as possible. But I'll try and get to all your comments. Just keep getting involved in the chat. We'll keep this going for another 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. Pep says, I want to know what happened to Pellistri and them changing to the U23 to U22 to U23 like some claimed. I'm not sure what that's about. Jerry says, you see teams like Seattle and others, they can run. They have speed. Suarez is slow. Messi walks. Bussy can't run. This is a team that can't defend. Technically defends with 7 and we get RDP. The defense is very bad. For the players that we have, thing is all our technicality is siloed in the front and there's no technicality in the back. There's no pace in the back, there's no physicality in the back. And because of that, we've front loaded all our talent and technicality. The front players can't run that much either. We don't have the right balance in the midfield to counter for the lack of running and pace that comes from our superstar players. And that just creates a really slow, lethargic team that has to rely on 3 or 4 players to keep the ball. And as soon as there's pressure on some of our defensive players, they lose the ball, and it's just, it hasn't been constructed well. Last season, the best part about this team was that we had players in and around who were providing the balance for some of the weaknesses that this team had. We had Diego Gomez, who was an absolute engine in the middle of the pitch. We had Matias Rojas, who was very technical as well, could take on some of the burden of holding the ball up. Leo Campana, who was able to score goals when Suarez wasn't able to score goals, when there were run of games where we needed somebody to score goals. And even then, I think the defense was lacking. I want this team next season to be the perfect balance of your superstars and your fringe players combining everything together. We need runners in the midfield. We need runners and physical players who are pacey, who are strong in the back line. Like, get me a Malanda, man. Why can't we have a Malanda-like player in our back line? That would automatically elevate a lot of the pressure that we feel in the front. And we don't have to always defend in the front foot because we have somebody in the back line who can be defensive proactively and not constantly running into space, creating holes in behind or making stupid decisions. I think there's a lot of faults in this team, but the biggest one is the lack of balance between the superstars and the fringe players. And for me, I think the fringe players are more important. If you don't surround the superstars with the right talent, and this team is talented, don't get me wrong, but there's no idea or plan of how we want to put that talent together. Like, Segovia is a fantastic player, but what is his role on this team, right? He's not doing the Diego Gomez role. He's not an out-and-out winger. He would be on any other team with Messi a backup to Lionel Messi. He wouldn't be playing every single game. Javi Mascherano doesn't utilize substitutes, so you can't bench Segovia. So you have to play him. Same with Allende. He would be a bench player if we had another winger. I think Nick says it right. Everyone just goes out and does whatever. And we have no identity. That's true. Yeah. Pythias says the pass the ball to Jordi tactic and cross the ball back in the air is just so it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Jerry says Mascherano was brought in by Messi. Every decision the team made is linked to Messi. RDP was not needed. Luhan picked by Mascherano. We lost key players through Mascherano's decisions. That conversation can get us down a rabbit hole, and I do not want to get to that rabbit hole right now. This would be something that we would definitely discuss in more detail in our post-season analysis that we do. What I want to do right now is say that you're absolutely correct, Jerry. David says it's like if Marshano doesn't study his opponents, he uses the same tactics every game. Listen, he tried something different this game. He tried the three man at the back. That didn't work. It worked for 20 minutes, and then after that, we were found out. Nia says if we win the MLS Cup, praise the Lord. I told you I'd kiss Javi Marshano shoes if we do. Jerry says, bottom line, this team is built to please Messi and little to do in the building. Real cohesive team. Yeah, we're not a cohesive team by any means. CV brings up a great point that I said earlier. Not even putting Santi Morales in, and you decided to put an Inter Miami 2 player. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that Daniel got his opportunity, but I thought Santi Morales was ahead of the pecking order and should have got an opportunity. We haven't seen him in forever. Mascherano just does not get the facilities. Tactically inept and seems like man management is poor as well. This team is suffering. This team doesn't play like a coherent team. And I think it's okay. The way I'm going to phrase this is 30% of that is reflective in what we do on the pitch. But I think 70% of it is how the team behaves with it amongst itself in the locker room. I think the culture of this team is very poor right now. And it's a bunch of individuals without any unity or fight to win a game for one another. And it's individuals playing the game on the same pitch, wearing the same shirt, and not playing with the same identity and goal in mind. Like Charlotte looked like a team who really wanted to go out there, play for one another. Of course, you could see with the way Zaha gave the ball to their striker, got him his hat trick. I mean, Messi would have done that as well, absolutely. But it's just how they react, right? When they lost the penalty, the goalkeeper saved it, and their immediate reaction together knew exactly how they wanted to come at Inter Miami, did not let us breathe. We see that in spurts, but it feels like it's individual quality rather than everyone getting on the same page together. Also, why did we take out Bright? We only had defensive substitutions, but that didn't do much for me. You could have put on Santi Morales and Daniel Pinter together at the same time. Why didn't you? Bistrat says, I can't watch Allende miss another sitter anymore. It drives me nuts. Ugh. I'm tired of saying the same thing, man. He needs to be benched, but who do you replace him with? Baltazar Rodriguez is injured. Alan Abondo is injured. Luis Suarez is suspended for 3 games. Matteo Silvetti is not even here. Who do we replace him with? Fafa Pico injured. We've packaged off Leo Campana. We've packaged off Robert Taylor. We've packaged off Julian Grasso. Who plays again instead of Allende? Who do we put in that position? What do we do? Tunde says, what do you mean we have no tactics? We clearly subscribe to the Messi and Inshallah tacticum from the holy book of Pep Tactics. Clearly what Mascherano picked up at Barca. Listen, in some teams that works, right? But not in this team. There's only as much Lionel Messi can do. He's human at the end of the day. But yes, that Messi and Inshallah tactics are getting a little boring, and also we're getting found out. This season, especially, teams have really learned how to play against Miami. Pep says, honestly lost hope after the Vancouver second leg. I had hope up until like 2 hours ago. I thought Inter Miami would surprise me a little bit, but Yeah. Ash says the solution is not signing 18 DP players. You know what it is? This team would have been perfect if we didn't have thousands of Argentinian youth players playing for us. And if we did actually sign more MLS caliber, more MLS experience, players who have the physicality and the experience of playing in the MLS, you surround those players with the likes of Messi, with the likes of Jordi Alba, you have the perfect recipe for success. Yet we go out, buy players from leagues that don't necessarily translate well into the MLS. We buy players for positions that we don't actually need. We don't buy the right profile. The team doesn't have the physicality to go 90 minutes against a team like Charlotte. Jay says the team looks broken. All legs are showing. It's not just the coach. I agree with you. The build of the team is wrong now. And I haven't said this previously, but this looks like a team that hasn't been constructed in the best way. And I would want to take back my own words because I thought this was a really well balanced team up until we sold Robert Taylor, Julian Gressel, and Campana. Redondo's gone as well. I don't even know that would have made a difference tonight, but I can't believe I'm saying Redondo's gone and I'm missing him. My goodness. What was the actual plan today? Allende sometimes was a 9, but then a lot of times was playing his usual role as a 9. Yeah. I have no idea what we did for the 70 minutes of this game. Pep says, I don't think there's a turning corner in this season. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a long shot if we actually win anything at all. Elmer says Segovia and Allende are awful. They can't create anything. Allende can't control. Segovia needs open space in order to create anything. Yeah, we could keep this going. And Pep pushes back. He says, I don't think it's about nationality. And yes, I don't want to say it's about nationality, but I think what I'm trying to say is you're bringing in players with obviously a specific reason from a certain background, Spanish speaking, players who are familiar to the coach. Absolutely. It's not about the nationality at all. It's about the talent level. It's about how they translate to the league. Yes, but you're losing the fabric that makes this club unique, right? And sometimes creating that homogenous environment is good, but I don't think it's worked for this Inter Miami team so far. I don't think it's about the nationality. I think it's about preferring certain players over others just because they speak a certain language or they come from a specific background. And that can be a controversial statement to say, but Tunde says, I feel you saw this team as a way of drawing you in with hope before ruthlessly dashing it. Yeah. It's the hope that kills you. Absolutely. Pep says the Club World Cup shows that this team could play as a team. The Club World Cup was a vacuum in itself, I think. It was an anomaly, and I don't think it's representative of what this team actually is. We played really well. That was the highlight of this season. That was the highlight of perhaps Inter Miami's short-lived history. But I think it's a certain different environment mentality when you're not the favorites. When you're the underdogs, when you know the world is against you, it galvanizes, or when you know that you don't have a chance to win, it galvanizes the team because your common point is let's go out there and show everyone that we belong here. Let's show everyone that we're actually a team that can play and match up against anyone. Now that should translate to the MLS where you're like, let's go out and show this everyone that we're the favorites to win. We're the ones who deserve the trophy. I don't know why that same mentality hasn't carried over, but clearly as soon as this team comes under caution in the MLS, plays against opponents who are well suited to this league and this environment, we're not able to deal with it. It's weird, and it should be like a social thesis that we should conduct. Why did this team play so well in the Club World Cup when nobody expected them to, and then when they should be playing well, they haven't played that well at all? Henry says, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, Allende will see the ball go outside 9 out of 10 times, my friend. 9 out of 10 times. No spark in this team, and I think that's absolutely right. There's no spark in this team. It just feels like they lack a sense of, I've used the word identity, but it's more than that. Is that drive, is that passion? Where's the passion, right? Like it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. Wookie says the front office has gutted the team, plus Mascherano is useless. Yes, I will not fight you on that at all. Henry is still holding on to some faith for all of us. I'm a little bit gutted today, and I am down and out right now. We'll come back tomorrow with a little bit more of a rational mindset. And of course, this is the raw reaction, so it's all in the moment. We're just expressing how we feel and what we're feeling in this moment. Hopefully, tomorrow gives us a little bit more perspective. And hopefully, we can find out a few more positives from this performance than anything. Tunde says absolutely he's in love with fielding. Pep says he as in Mascherano is in love with fielding a whole team of midfielders, and we can explain why that's bad. The balance is off. We don't have any outright wingers. We're playing, let's say, Sergio Busquets, Yannick Bright, Rodrigo de Paul, Segovia. Allende is, I don't think he's a winger as such. Maybe you can count him as a winger. That's like 4 midfielders, no wingers. Messi's technically a midfielder. That's 5. Where's the balance, right? Especially in this league. This is not like the La Liga where you can just play your tiki-taka, have a nice skillful football, use your technicality to burden the opposition. This is a very physical team. And to that effect, I think somebody mentioned in the chat, Jerry said, how fast has RDP learned that this league is tough, competitive, and improving fast? In 3 more years, it will be top 5. It's not a joke to play in the MLS. A lot of people love to make fun of it. They like to count it out. It takes a lot to adapt. And the fact that a lot of foreign players come in, maybe in their retirement tours, and maybe it has to do with the attitude with which they come in, not everyone is successful. It takes a lot to be successful in this league when you're coming from another league. Yeah, and RDP has not been good at all. Vank says we're going to get a win next game. Hope that's the last TEF game we play. I think we're at home against Seattle, so we're absolutely going to not have the TEF, but I don't think it's a guaranteed, my friend. I would hope Inter Miami can pull something out, but at this point, it doesn't feel like we're winning anything. All right, guys. I think that has been it hasn't been as therapeutic as I would have liked it to be, and maybe we can go on for longer, but I think the more I talk about this game, the more depressed I'm going to get. So maybe we will call it there. Inter Miami losing 3-0 to Charlotte. Venk asks, where is Scotty enjoying his life somewhere? Because honestly, who would want to watch that? No, in all seriousness, Scotty's away saving the world. He will be back for the next game. Tomorrow, you guys are stuck with me as per usual. We will be back tomorrow evening to do a full post-game analysis, understand what went wrong for Inter Miami. Are there any positives that we can take away from this? And what's in store for the rest of the 8 games that we have to play? It's been a disappointing evening. I I'm glad that you guys stuck around. I needed to get things off my chest, and I see everyone else having a similar opinion. Hopefully, tomorrow's a new day. We can go into it with a little bit more positivity, and let's hope Inter Miami is able to get a good result soon and turn things around. I will see you tomorrow evening. We're going to have a special guest join us. We'll do the full analysis. Until then, guys, thank you and have a lovely evening.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Since our first viewer, sharing this with you all has been the very best part. So from the beginning until the end, thank you for being a part of this and have a wonderful day.